All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make some cylinders. Cylinders are super easy. When I was a kid, I learned how to make them by drawing like a oval and then drawing another oval and then drawing a line from this edge of the oval to this edge of the oval, and the same on the other side. Technically, you have a cylinder right there, but if it's not see-through, then you can't see the back side, so I'm going to erase the back side. You can use this method to draw all sorts of cylinders. You can draw tall, skinny, when you really get good at it, you can just make a little rounded off part right there when you know what you're doing. This is not going to be flat. You can also make short, squat cylinders. Again, this line down here is going to be parallel or the same as this one right here. You can also lay them on their sides. Draw a oval this way, and then draw the line going to the side, and then draw the other end of it. Of course, shading it in helps lend to the illusion that it's three-dimensional. Maybe even having a shadow on the table that lifts it, makes it look a little bit more realistic. That's all there is to making cylinders. Be sure and erase or fix anything that needs to be fixed as you're drawing. So you can see here I have already begun filling this page with cylinders. I first put a border on it. I believe this border is 1 inch wide all the way around, and then I just started adding these cylinders. Some of the cylinders go behind, some of the cylinders go on top of, some cylinders are laying down. I could have gotten really fancy with them and put some holes into the sides of them, or made them look like Coca-Cola cans or soft drink cans, or whatever. But I wanted to kind of keep it simple. I wanted to make it where it was a learning process or a learning challenge or learning practice, and so I just made as many cylinders as I could, one on top of the other, one in front of the other. I started at the bottom making these cylinders and worked my way back. The cylinders in the very front, you have to do both the top and the bottom of the cylinder in order for it to look like a cylinder. But once you have established that, as you go further back, the cylinders consist of basically just an oval at the top and two lines that go down behind another cylinder. It is literally the easiest thing to draw, probably. So fill the page with as many of these cylinders as you can. Make sure you go off the left side and the right side and the top side, and if you do it right, you can even go off the bottom. Once you have done all that, you're then going to trace all of the correct cylinders and correct lines, correcting them as you go if you need to. If you see something that you drew in pencil that's wrong, fix it with the pen, and then just outline everything. Now, usually I would say that in real life there are no outlines, and so if you're trying to make this totally realistic, this is not the first thing you want to do. But for the project that you're doing now, for this project, you can go ahead and start by outlining everything in Sharpie pen and then going back and erasing all of the pencil. Then I begin the shading process. You have to work from light to dark, basically, because the very first lines you put down are light, but I'm working in the dark area and I'm building it up and making it dark where I think it needs to be dark. As I go, I might find that I need to darken those areas even more. So there are very few places you need to start out absolutely positively black. Don't shade anything in 100% black to begin with, because you don't know if that's right. But once you get enough cylinders done, you might could look at it and decide that, hey, this, for contrast, this needs to be a little bit darker here. And so that's what I was doing here. I was trying to make my lines go in the same direction as the oval on the top. That is, the oval is curved in a downward, curves down and then back up again. So the lines need to curve down and back up again. The cross hatching, the hatching. This is called contour hatching or contour cross hatching. And that contour helps to make the shape look rounder. You can also see that where I wanted it darker, I did some vertical lines to make it darker. And then occasionally I would come to a place where it needs to be even darker, and I would do some diagonal lines. Sometimes it's helpful to turn your hand or turn the paper in the direction that makes it easiest to make curves. Your wrist curves in a certain direction, so don't try and do curves against the curve of your wrist. You can kind of see from this perspective that it looks more realistic now with all of the shading going on. Each one of the darker values kind of stands in front of a lighter value, creating more depth. So the more you shade it in, really, the better. I'm sure there's a place where you got to stop at some point, but very rarely are students as thorough as they need to be. This shadow that I'm putting on the table just kind of helps make the shapes look like they're sitting on something rather than just floating in the air. Notice how I fade the shadow out a little bit. It's darker up underneath the shape, and then it fades to a lighter value as it goes out. Here I am going back and adding some more darks in behind and in between cylinders. Also notice that I have left the tops of every cylinder white. And then I went over my border with the Sharpie pen. Well, I'm using a Micron Pigma, probably an 01 maybe in this picture, in this video, on this project. But you can use a Sharpie pen. You want to use a black pen that's not going to bleed through the paper or bleed into the paper too much. Microns are really good for that. I may even leave a link in the description down below. Leave in the description down below a link to get some Microns or some Sharpie pens or both. And that's pretty much it. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you are interested in any of these materials, check the link down below, check the description down below. And that's it. Finishing up a few spots, and then I should be done. What are you waiting for? Go make yours. Put this on loop if you want to, or replay, or whatever, but go make yours now. Go get the white paper, go get the pen, go get the pencil, start drawing. Now. Come on, what are you waiting on? I see you still sitting there. Okay, bye-bye.